y'all.
Hey guys, we are back in black and red and purple.
We're back to the lab again. It's season 2, y'all.
It's season 2. What's up, guys? How are you? Good to see you. Good to hear you. Doing neither, actually.
Yeah, none of the above. But
good to know that you're around.
It feels good to be back in the booth.
It does feel good to be back.
It's like a second home.
It is like a second home. I feel like the booth has had some upgrades.
I think so too. It's like
the booth has definitely had some upgrades.
It feels like we started in a closet and now we have crown molding out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Like it just feels elevated.
We're in our second home versus our first.
Right, and we're experienced home buyers at this point.
Right.
We know what we want and what we don't want.
Interest rates are lower. Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel the biggest come up. First of all, you've done some organizing.
I have.
Looks great in here.
Yeah.
On a personal note. Also, we have air freshener in here now, guys.
Oh yeah.
And we have candles lit all the time. So you know what that means? No more cat litter.
Yeah. Doesn't smell like Tootie.
It no longer smells like a cat in here, and I think that's really.
And Tootie actually smells a little bit better.
She does. Yeah. And I think that's really a metaphor for our confidence in season 2 is that we no longer
smell like shit.
Exactly. And B, I brought a blanket in here today and my coffee, so
she did.
Mom is comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think we're just comfortable.
We're comfortable, but even back in season 2, I think we're more comfortable with our content, our viewers.
Absolutely, we've really hit our stride.
Yeah, we've definitely picked our lane, and we're staying in it, people.
Absolutely.
Left lane only. We're going fast.
Ain't that the truth?
But before we get into the weekly segment, we do have a bit of news. Our former segment, Goop, we are putting it in a grave, and we are burying it, and we are wearing something nice and black. Erin, take it away.
So we kind of thought it would be a good idea to change the name of our weekly segment from Goop of the Week to Bouge of the Week.
Les
Bouge. Because we feel like, first of all, there's a cosmetic line that's owned by Gwyneth Paltrow called Goop, and we just want to be clear that we have no affiliation with them, and we've never had any affiliation. For us, it was always just a slang term that we had used to basically just talk about funny, over-the-top, fancy people or stuff. We had always kind of joked around with that, so we just wanted to make it clear we don't really have any association or affiliation with that. So we just also, I was having a gin and tonic with my mom the other week, and I was like, she was talking to me about the fancy gins that I drink, and I was swishing my glass around, and I was like, oh, it's the Bouge of the Week. I know. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that's a way funnier, better, more fitting title for our segment anyway, because really the things that we talk about are bougie items. And for anybody who doesn't know what bougie means, just over the top, things that us middle class folk dream of one day being able to afford. For example, our season 1 episode, a $4,000 or $3,000, whatever it was, Tiffany & Co. tennis ball holder.
Yeah.
I dream of a day I can afford that.
Any frame of reference, just go to our Instagram. But
so, going forward, Bouge of the Week. We love it. What do we got?
All right, guys. Retailing for $299. Keurig, if you guys are familiar, they make the coffee pods, really popular in offices and white people's houses. So they're doing a alcohol version. It's called the Drink Works by Keurig. Same concept, little pods of alcohol. You pick which ones, and then it gives you a list of cocktails that the Keurig can perform for you.
It's basically their slogan.
A lot of holes in this one, guys.
Their slogan is your home bar made simple. Now, let me tell you, I gotta be honest with you, Stephanie. I got tagged in this by a couple different people because everybody knows Mama loves a good cocktail.
Totally.
I'm a cocktail drinker. I'm a cocktail fan.
Yes.
So I got tagged in this by many people saying, oh my God, you gotta get this for your place. And initially, I was thrilled with the idea because I've always wanted to be able to make amazing cocktails, but I'm lazy. So then I started looking into this more, and that is when it transitioned from being, something I would buy to Bouge of the Week. And let me tell you why. 100%. Because for me, unlike a lot of our Bouge of the Weeks, I feel like the price tag is not what bothers me. And the price tag is not what bothers me.
It's a cherry, for sure.
Yeah, and I just feel like it doesn't bother me because I would look at it as an investment, right? I mean, some appliances can cost $300. That's not that crazy.
All right.
But then I started looking at the cocktails that this thing makes.
Right.
And that is our grievance, you guys. That is when it becomes bougie. And let me tell you why. This thing, the starter pack that they're doing.
Read the cocktails.
Are gin and tonic, cosmopolitan, vodka, lime, and soda.
Dude, get...
I mean, it's just like, here's the thing. Okay, I guess they do like a White Russian, which, I mean, I suppose. But here's my problem. Stephanie, you were a bartender. Go ahead and tell me how simple it is to make these things on your own.
I will. First of all, eyes closed. Could do it. Second of all, if somebody didn't tip me for a drink, like, I genuinely, guys, to this day, if I was bartending, like, I don't care. If somebody doesn't leave $1, I don't get butthurt because I think to myself, that took literally zero effort. I can, like, take the L for somebody. Yeah, so that's my point. Is like, I will skip out on a tip because the job is so easy.
That's a good point. And like I said, when I first read this, I was stoked because I was like, I thought this thing was going to be making me these complex, bougie cocktails that I can't make on my own. I'm like, if this thing doesn't have its own robotic arm that's like slopping the mint over my thing, I don't want it.
If Tears of a Virgin are not like in this Keurig somewhere, if they're not pestling cherries and bitters,
like I want
orange.
A muddled Manhattan.
Yeah,
that's why I'm just
and
confused.
I want it to have a little bit of a back sass too.
Exactly.
Like a New York bartender. It needs to have a Siri voice in it.
I was gonna say, if mine isn't,
what'll you have?
If mine isn't giving me like that bar talk banter, I don't want it, dude.
That would be fucking... I would pay $300 if it was like a sassy, like, Queens bartender.
Absolutely. And you could like buy a different personality.
And you're like top shelf.
Yeah.
Like, we don't got that, sweetie.
Like, this girl came from the streets and has a Boston accent. This guy's 70 and knows nothing but the bar.
This one's pregnant. And...
Yeah. See, like, I would love that. Or I feel like, too... I just feel like for me to pay that amount of money for something, it's not going to be for a gin and tonic. I'll just make it myself.
Right. The minimalism of this product is not helping them. My freaking problem, let me know if anybody else doesn't agree with me. When you go home, right, you're going out to the bars because you want to pay for, like, the atmosphere and the ambiance, whatever, and have people wait on you. But you're getting a 2-ounce pour. So when I go home, I'm going to give myself more than a 2-ounce pour. So who wants
that's
to
the
go...
incentive for you to make a cocktail at home is because you can kind of choose what you want in it.
Right. And I'm saying, like, with the cost of that these pods are, so we found that they're $15.99 for a 4-pack. It's like you're basically like tipping a bartender that you don't have at your home when it comes out to like a bottle versus pods. You know what I mean?
Which I kind of understand why they'd have to make the pods that expensive because alcohol is expensive in general. But it's like, again, it goes back to the like form over function. Like, how much money are you actually saving then?
Right.
If you're paying $300 for the product itself, and then you have to pay. It's like $3.99 a pod or like whatever a pod, and it's like at that point it just seems like a lot of effort for this thing again to be making me a gin and tonic. Also, is it squeezing the lime?
Right.
Or am I grabbing the lime myself?
I think you're grabbing the lime yourself.
I think I am too.
I would just be bummed if I went home after a long night ready to like polish myself off and I get like a 2-ounce vodka soda. And the vodka, you guys, not gonna lie, it's probably pop off. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. I wonder what kind of shelf
Fleshmans
we're talking.
Something like that. Who knows? Who cares?
And even if it isn't, that's fine. I just still go back to form over function. I think this thing maybe, I feel like people are maybe using it for the mentality of like, oh, I'm entertaining. It's like, okay, if you can't make these simple ass drinks yourselves, don't have people over.
Right. Like if you're gonna be busting out Cosmos, fine. But
but I just also feel like
vodka soda's just like pour the bottle over 10 glasses. Get it over with. I don't know.
And I feel like me and you were talking about too. It's like if you make a margarita or something, even if you're not the most experienced drink maker and you have people over, it's like just literally have them taste it and be like, you want a little bit more of this? You want a little bit more of this?
Right.
That's kind of the beauty of being able to make cocktails at home. So like I said, I don't think this thing is quite state of the art and filling a market gap. As much as I think it's attempting to, and hey, I appreciate the attempt as a cocktail lover.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going all the way there, and therefore, bougie of the week. Another thing I wanted to bring up is I love Keurig, and I think that what they've done with the coffee makers is very different and very revolutionary because me and you were talking about how, like, it's almost like the equivalent of if a Keurig made you a hot pot of coffee with half and half. Right, exactly. It's like it doesn't really elevate you to that next level of, oh, I'm willing to pay that much for this product because it's actually making you lattes or like espressos.
You can't bang out espressos, but you can bang out vodka sodas.
Exactly.
Like if it's really for like efficiency plus quality, like if you're at an office and you really do want your employees to have espresso, sick. Buy the Keurig. Right. But at home, if you're trying to pump out, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like, that seems a lot quicker. Yeah, like you said, nothing revolutionary. Yeah. Like if they were doing a sangria, like, you know what I mean? If they were like aging
I think they do have I think they actually do have a sangria, but honestly, hate to burst your bubble, sangria is pretty easy to make too.
I was going to say, then you have to buy like...
You have to muddle your own fruit in it too.
Well, do you have to like buy like red wine pods and then mix with, you know what I mean? Like, that's just
It'd
confusing.
probably be it is
because it's going to mix it itself in the actual thing.
Right. It would probably
so why would it come as a mix?
I think it's just a pre-made sangria
so weird,
mix.
dude.
And there you
That's
go.
pointless.
How fresh is it, right? Like, the whole point of sangria is to have, like, muddled fruit. I don't know. Anyway, bougie of the week, you guys. It's bougie. And that's why we're chatting about it.
Yeah. So, $2.99. If you would use this,
and by that we mean no decimal point,
No.
$299.
Yeah.
And bougie of the week. So that's how we're kicking off season 2, dude.
A lot of these bouges that we've done in the past, they're just sometimes the epitome of lazy. You know,
Yeah,
it just
truly.
comes down to, it's not even a matter of just like excess. It's just, wait, you're lazy.
Like we said, give us the robot or give us nothing.
Give us that.
So anyway, season 2, dude.
I know, we're here.
Cheers. Let's cheers our coffees.
Yeah, we're
Am I
here.
being horribly rude by sipping into the mic? Absolutely, you betcha.
I mean, I was like, everybody pause.
There you go.
ASMR. Yeah, season 2, we're back.
We've
feeling
elevated.
so good. We've elevated.
I feel like we got to
We've
catch
had-
up a little bit. I feel like this is just going to be like a catch-up episode.
We'll start with you. You went
Catch
to
up with-
England.
I did.
You saw the boyf.
I did. My boyfriend lives in England. We kind of took a season break for multiple reasons, so we kind of both relaxed a little bit.
Both kind of settled into new jobs.
Yeah.
Ish.
So yeah, exactly. So went on a trip. I went to Europe. Went to go see my boyfriend who lives in England.
Shout
we
out
went
Jacob.
to Germany. It was fun. Oh my god. Okay, there's a couple things that I've saved to talk about on the podcast. Dude, so many funny things. And I honestly want to hear other people's opinion on this because I want to know if this is just me being an asshole or if everybody's like on my page.
Valid
I had
question.
two I had 2 instances while I was traveling at different times that I just felt needed to be talked about. Okay, so the first one, I flew from Phoenix to London. I have a layover. I'm chilling. My headphones are in. I'm in the biggest airport in the world with my coffee.
She has a coffee.
She has a coffee and she's thriving.
Yeah.
Is really what the situation was. So I'm sitting there, I'm doing my thing, my planner's out, and I noticed that this woman keeps like getting up and walking around in front of me like multiple times to the point where now I recognize her person.
Right.
And there's somebody that's sitting kind of next to me that keeps like getting up and talking to. I'm
I
assuming
hate
the
that
person,
when families take over like 6 seats. It's like,
Yeah,
come
it's
on,
like,
guys, let's
hey,
not
dude,
set up camp.
sit
It's not
together.
Coachella. Like,
exactly.
Come on.
Where's your tent? Dude, just sit together or don't sit together and don't know each other. It's really that simple. And also, there's only 2 of them, so it's weird. So she keeps getting up, talking to this girl, and finally I'm like, hey, you have no shoes on. And I'm... Dude, this woman had no shoes on at all, and the bottom of her feet were black.
Woof.
So not only did she not have... Woof is right.
Ugh.
Not only did she not have
Don't
shoes
like
on...
that.
She hadn't had shoes on for an amount of time for her feet to
To
already
be
be black. And like...
And in her defense, that could be a yard in an airport. You could walk maybe 10 steps.
Exactly. And I just... Exactly.
It's
And I
disgusting.
feel like... You know, like when you're in an airport and the suitcase wheels leave black scuffs. Like that was for sure what was on her feet. And I had
And probably
one
a little
thought,
cesspool of other things.
I had a little mixture of other things. I had one thought that really dominated my brain, and that was, you are not in your living room. Put some goddamn shoes on.
Slides, guys.
Let me ask you,
Slides.
have you ever taken your shoes completely off, not wearing socks, not wearing slides, in an airport?
You should see the pedicure women try to take my shoes off. Even that's hard.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I am just not a proponent of public feet.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, if you want to be barefoot at your house, that's fine. Do not be barefoot in the world's biggest airport. And
It's
I'm
like when
like,
you
cool,
touch a
we're all
dollar
in your
bill and
living
then
room
like
now.
rub your fingers on your lips.
Exactly.
Like, ugh.
And it just gave me this vibe, and her confidence and her comfortability just trekking around in front of me, talking to her friend. It's like, I'm not in your house, dude. Why
Yeah.
can I see your toes and feet? What? Like, I don't understand. I
Like-
just thought it was so weird. And like, look, I get being comfortable. I get wearing slides, but I feel like slides are close enough to the ground.
I
You
was
don't need to
gonna
be
say,
on the ground.
And the toes are, like, your toes are breathing at that point.
Right, exactly.
No restriction.
Right.
I just think, like, I really kind of hate millennial, like, fashion, how it's very, like, active sports gear, but slides are one thing where I'm just like, they really are. They
They're
come in
good.
handy.
They're good for on the go. And look, I don't need you to be in a thigh-high
They're good
boot.
for TSA.
They are good.
You
That's
know
what I'm
what I
saying. You don't
mean?
need to be in like a thigh-high boot. I get that you're in the airport and you're traveling.
You're like store
but you
Weissman.
also don't need to be barefoot.
That's
There's an
disgusting,
in-between.
dude.
And then,
I would call somebody out.
okay, I'm glad you agree with me. And then the other thing which happened, which it became like a theme of my trip, and I was like, what the hell is going on everywhere? So on my way home, I had a flight from Manchester to London, then one from London to Phoenix. And my flight from Manchester to London, mind you, was like 40 minutes. I mean, you literally go up and you go back down. And the plane landed and everything, and we're all like unbuckling our seatbelts and getting up. And I see there's a guy who is in the row in front of me.
Right.
And then there's a guy in the row 3 seats behind me and to the right. So these guys are like diagonal and 3 rows away
apart.
from each other,
right.
having a conversation.
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm like, they're basically talking over me, which is like why I'm involved.
Right.
And the guy in the back goes, "Hey, sir, could you go ahead and pass me my shoes, please?" And I go,
what?
I go, huh?
Huh? Drake?
I go, huh? And the guy in front of him goes, "Oh yeah, man, absolutely."
Huh? I could easily see myself sitting in that seat and going, "Oh, hell no."
I was like
getting up
what?
slowly and turning around.
The fuck? I was so, I had so many questions, and I was looking around like, is anybody else... This is the craziest part to me. So not only did this guy 3 rows behind us feel the need to get that comfortable on a 40-minute flight, his shoes were off his feet and not even near his body. And then the other guy, I'm like, oh, they must know each other. They must be brothers.
The audacity.
And I get up, and we're all leaving the plane. He gives him his shoes, and they go separate ways. They weren't even traveling together. I'm just telling you, dude.
No.
This is my theme.
Mm-mm.
Keep your shoes on or near you
at
with
all
socks
times.
At all times, and that's
at
it.
all times.
And there's a period after that sentence because there's no negotiating that for me. That's it.
I'm just trying to think of the equivalent, and I don't know.
Anyway, guys, I know that was passionate, but that was really important for me, and that's how my trip went, Stephanie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I just, not wearing shoes in an airport is disgusting. You're low life. You might die alone. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, we're not dramatic.
Ooh, cold as ice.
Ooh, did it just become a tundra here?
Little chilly. There's a draft.
So anyway, what else have you been watching any, like, good TV? Like, what have you been up to? I know you've been working a lot. I've been working a lot.
I have a boring life.
I have a boring life, too. Also, nobody wants to hear about it. Dude,
well, and the shitty part about a boring life is, like, you really find solace and comedy in the small things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, my neighbor... He's obsessed with video games, plays them all day and night.
Oh,
we can hear him from time to time, but lately he's been trying something new out where, like, he voices his frustrations in song. And I don't know what he's playing, but Aaron and I were watching a documentary the other night, which we'll get into, and Aaron can attest, out of nowhere you go, like, out of nowhere. And it was, like, nice. It was kind of nice. But just, I mean, it wasn't like, damn it. It was just like,
this guy was so pissed off.
He was bridging into Lady Marmalade, or he was, like, singing some part of that song, like, at all times of the night.
We paused the documentary, and I was like, Aretha Franklin was resurrected outside your front door. We gotta do something about it. And she goes, oh, no, that's just my neighbor.
It's funny, though, because it's like, he's kind of a little bit of a sketchball, so he's kind of like a siren, you know? It's like, he's like kind of trash, and then he opens his voice, and it's like, oh my, you're so distracted by the sketchiness of his, like, Beyonce-ness.
We lead really interesting lives, you guys. And this is what our weekends consist of.
That wasn't even interesting. I just thought, like,
It's so funny.
Like, yeah, we stopped a couple times. Anyway.
So what should we chat about what documentary we were pausing and what documentary we were watching?
Yes. So, which one we were pausing and watching? I'm sure you guys have heard. It's swarming in the news.
What's
Michael
it called
Jackson.
again? Leaving Neverland? I think it's called Leaving Neverland.
Yeah,
right?
Leaving Neverland. Which is a 2-part series. The first part is going to basically give you backstory and then kind of let you know how this all begins.
Dude.
Part 2 is aftermath. It's the trial. It's how the victims are coping now.
Yeah.
So really informative. And what Aaron and I think both agreed on is it kind of has something for everyone is not the right term, but it basically covers all the bases that anybody would want to know about. Like, we watched the beginning and it was like the kid's backstory, and then Aaron was like, well, I want to know about the trial. So it talks about,
if you're somebody
it gets
who
a lot
had
of perspective. Except for the Jacksons, unfortunately.
Correct. I think it gives a lot of insight to people and information, I guess, regarding it for people who had no prior knowledge. Like, I didn't really have a lot of prior knowledge on that
and it
whole
also,
situation.
Right, and which is great for, our listeners and people our age because, we all grew up seeing him at, like, the tail end of all this.
Right, rather than, like...
his face was already white. Like,
we didn't
things
really
were
know
already
the, like,
kind of
beat
weird,
it Michael Jackson.
Yeah, but I think we both knew something
funky was up for sure.
This fame had gotten to this person was famous since they were a child. Like, that I think was clear to everybody, but this is the first time we were really understanding.
And as adults, I think something too that we always want to kind of refresh people's minds on, this podcast, we like to talk about things that everybody else is talking about, but in a way that not everybody else is talking about them.
Right.
And we like to keep it current, we like to keep it fresh and keep it topical on things that we feel are transpiring and affecting, you know, the now, what's going on in the now. And that's why we wanted to talk a little bit, you know, keeping a lot of our maybe opinions out of it, just a little bit about this documentary and how much it has affected. I mean, I personally,
or at least people our age, like what kind of light it shed on that. And
I feel like I can't go anywhere without people talking about it.
Oh, no, especially on social media.
Social media, or like my, even work. Like, I've had so many conversations with people I work with who are like, oh, have you seen this? Oh, have you seen this? And I think it's really, I don't know, I just was so...
Well, back to your point about talking about current events, I think I was just going to say that's something you'll see more this season. I think we strayed away from it a little bit last season because we wanted to focus on things that were like really interesting to us, but we just want to set the stage and say that if we are talking about current events, it's going to be how us, you know, millennials can, you know, are digesting and interpreting these kinds of things that are happening.
We'll still be doing topical content, but we also want to incorporate maybe a little bit more of a current event side of things that we weren't doing as much in season 1. So, with that being said, me and Stephanie watched...
Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise.
That's right. Me and you watched the documentary together.
Yeah, we did. Very cute. We had a cheese and crackers. And
I feel like... Dude, I don't know. The amount of times that we had to pause it to even be able to, like, collect ourselves...
was a lot.
I find... it's hard for me now... I kind of found myself shaking a huge stick and fist at the TV.
Big branch.
And I mean that with particular respect to the mothers. And I want to be, I don't know, I want to be careful. I always try to see all sides of the spectrum. But there's one thing that I just feel like I have to say and feel no remorse in saying. I do not have children. But I don't think it takes having children for me to be like, there is no way on this universe or the next that my child is sleeping in a bed with a 40-year-old man. Like, end of.
End of, yes.
End of.
So you start with the two young guys. Their stories kind of overlap each other, and they go back and forth between how the relationships evolved with Michael Jackson, and both of them were just young stars, or one was like a big fan of Michael Jackson's and was a dancer, the other one was like doing some sort of media talent kind of thing.
I think he was a kind of like
he was a child
actor. Yeah, I think he met him in a commercial.
Yeah, a Pepsi commercial. So anyway, so they go over the relationships with both of them. They both are, it's the entry to the sexual assault, and then the building of their relationships between the boys and Michael, and then Michael and the kids' families, and that's like an extremely disturbing part of it. And what Aaron is referencing is that both of these young boys at such a young age were allowed through their mother's volition to sleep with Michael either in a hotel room or in his own like separate quarters. So that's what we're talking about right now.
In the same bed.
Too, and I think we both kind of agreed that there was definitely like one of the things of a haze or a fog of like stardom that was like the initial like, oh yeah, no second thoughts. But then it goes on. Well, I'm just saying, if we're putting, not us, if we're putting ourselves in their shoes, and like, you know, you have to keep in mind when he met these boys, he was, you know, at the acme of his career. Yeah. So anyway,
I think the thing is though, is that's what I'm saying, is a lot of it I don't want to say I can understand from the mother's perspective, because I can't, but I'm saying I would be more inclined to understand, and I get, looking back, hindsight's 20/20, you made mistakes. But the one thing throughout the whole thing that I was like, even then, even with the cloud of fame, even with everything, I still can't budge on, is the bed thing. Because let me tell you this.
Because he was like,
no, because it's a literal, like, let me tell you the difference. If I were the mom and Michael Jackson was like, let me fly your kid out, let me give him all these experiences, let me let him play at Neverland Ranch, let me give you the best wine in the world.
Right.
That I can all understand a little bit more.
Okay.
But then I'm saying, if he was like, let me sleep in the same bed with him, I think it's just too direct of like a thing to ever ignore under any circumstance. Oh, let me sleep in the same bed as him. I'm saying I think that under no circumstances should have ever under any circumstance of fame or whatever, been able to cloud her judgment. That's
right.
too direct. He straight up asked her that.
Which is a crazy thing about that, too, is that I watched Larry King and Macaulay Culkin's interview when he's an adult, like later on. I didn't watch that with you. But right. He's like, you know, Macaulay Culkin says, he's like, the thing that people don't understand is that Michael's bedroom was a 2-story, like, house, basically. There was beds, there was sofas, there was all this stuff. But the kicker is that Michael Jackson does not say to these mothers, can he stay in my, like, quarters or, like, my room, even if they knew the context of room, meaning, like, a double
the size of a condo,
he says bed.
Well, and
he could say,
exactly.
You know, he could have said that, but he's like, or he can stay in my bed.
And in reality, they're probably, you're saying that his bedroom has, like, couches and different beds, but he was still sleeping in the same bed with them.
And that's made that very clear.
Right, and that's where it's like, it doesn't matter how big your room is or how many locks are on your doors. You're still asking people's mothers to sleep with their 7-year-old child in your bed because it makes you more comfortable. I'm out. I just think they were both very, very well spoken in that documentary, and their composure was pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I just think this shit is way too prevalent. So
well, and I think the other thing, a good takeaway from this is to realize that when they're talking about it, they're very everybody that's, you guys have seen reality shows and how they go back to just the single frame of the person talking. They do this in this documentary as well. And every person, I mean, both moms and both kids and a couple random people here and there, they're so present in their storytelling.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when they're talking about it, they're not like, they don't seem sad. They don't seem like it was a bad memory. Like, they're talking about it very fondly. So I think a takeaway from that is that, like, the really underlying tones of manipulation, and how, like, this kid is reflecting and he's saying, yeah, it broke my heart when Michael moved on, you know, I cried myself to sleep, you know, he didn't want me anymore, like,
yeah, like, I don't know if they look upon it fondly, but you're saying they're really good at, like, getting back into that moment, into the mindset of when they were that age.
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's just crazy to me, like, realizing you know, like, him crying himself to sleep because this 40-year-old man didn't want to sleep with him, like, that is a takeaway, in my opinion.
Manipulation is strong and it comes in all forms.
And manipulation turns into normality so quick for people, and that's a really scary thing. And that's that's
abuse. That is really the underlying concept of abuse. Yeah. So crazy things happening right now. I feel like documentaries too, just on like another note, I just feel like documentaries are just like firing on all cylinders right now. I feel like there's you know what I mean? There's a lot of really crazy.
I have a lot on my TV plate right now.
Oh my God, same. Absolutely. There's been so much happening in the news. This whole Jordan Kylie thing, this whole...
I was going to say, speaking of being ostracized by, like, a family, like the Jacksons, like these guys, you know, talk about home chick.
For real. And this is obviously way switching gears.
Yeah,
but
sorry, guys.
That's another thing is, we've also kind of always talking about current events, but maybe we want to avoid talking about things that are, quote unquote, I don't know, how would you put it? Like...
run-of-the-mill.
Or superficial. Like, we don't really want to become a superficial podcast, but we found something very interesting about this whole situation with Kylie Jenner and Jordan Woods.
Yeah.
About...
because it was all the hype. I mean,
the hype and just the fame, dude. What fame does to people and what it creates for people is a really... and that's why we say, like, we're using this superficial anecdote to really get into a deeper meaning. Of, like... I don't know. How do you feel about that whole thing? Do you kind of feel like 21 made a mistake? What's your take? Tell me what your take is. We haven't really we've talked a little bit about it, but
yeah, and I will make the point that, like, it's not super interesting to me at all, but like you said, the underlying messages that we can take away from this are, like, very
what's
important.
Interesting to us, yeah.
My biggest thing, you know, Jordan might have lied, whatever, who cares? There's a lot of Jordans out there calling Jordan out. You know what I mean? It's just like, it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
And I think a lot of people who are criticizing her are, you know, maybe they could say that they haven't done the same thing, but they've done something. You know what I mean? Being a Jordan, and I say that loosely, comes in many forms, and I just think, you know, that's the horrible thing about social media is we're so quick to shake a stick.
You can hide behind your typing board because nobody knows who you are.
What if everybody that commented something negative had to, like, face her in real life? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So my biggest takeaway is that, like, there's a lot of Jordans out there judging Jordan, so y'all need to chill.
You know what, though? I don't know. I feel like I'm in two minds about it. Part of me is like...
but I feel the worst for Kylie. That's my final point.
Absolutely feel the worst. Because, dude, Kylie, overnight, lost her best friend and was put in this horribly uncomfortable position, and
business partner,
the godmother of her child, feels so sorry for her sister Chloe.
Tristan Thompson, if he was just an average ugly.
That's what I'm just saying. I just think, personally, in my humble opinion, I don't think he's sensational enough to be terminating all these lifelong relationships. I'm like, cool, Jordan. So you...
I think she lied through her teeth through that interview.
I think she lied through her teeth too, but you know what? Don't care. Here's the thing. You lost your best friend, probably, I would imagine, a lot of your endorsements over this dude?
Yeah.
Like, that's my point, is I'm just like, okay, if it's...
homeboy.
Exactly, your lip kits are half off because of homeboy?
Yeah.
Also,
what?
If it were Brad Pitt in the 90s, maybe. But no, I just don't... Yeah, I don't know.
You are not the Angelina
exactly.
Chloe's not the Jen.
No. Yeah, this is a very different circumstance. And just certain things in the interview, I just knew. Like, there were certain things where I was like, up to interpretation, up to interpretation,
right.
up to interpretation. Certain things where I was like, that's a lie.
There's
no way she walked... Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, that she walked out and just randomly got...
Well, actually, I don't know if I feel that way. I was going to say there's no way that she walked into this living room and there she was like... I remember she said, she's like, there's nowhere to sit. So I had to sit on basically his lap. It's like, okay, so you're in an NBA player's house.
Right.
And he has no furniture.
And you know what else about that is, like, I have always stood by this. The more people talk, the more shit and, like, lies they're covering up. What I mean by that. Like, if you text your coworker and you're like, hey, can you still cover that shift for me? And they send you a paragraph. Without even reading it, I already know they're full of shit.
Exactly.
The more you say, the more you have to
explain yourself and, like,
so Jada's like,
circle around the actual beef of the conversation.
Right,
you're
can't
full
just
of
be
it.
straight up. So Jada's like, I forgot how she staged the question, whatever. And she goes... So, and Jordan basically writes a blueprint during this, and it's just like, Jordan, the amount of details you're giving are clearly showing that you have something. She's like, so here is the couch. It was from Lazy Boy. It had studs, and it was at a 45-degree angle, catty corner to the kitchen.
Yeah, she's like, my knees were like, facing south in the Never Eat Soggy Waffle. It's like, dude,
I shaved my legs 3 days ago, by the way, Nair.
Nobody cares.
You know what I mean?
Did you sleep with him?
The details are just like a huge indicator for me. But that's just me. Opinions of my own.
There's a word for it. God, what's that word when you like go into when politicians like...
it's a weird word.
Filibustering. Yeah, she's filibustering the whole time. And also that thing was so rehearsed, but I mean, whatever. Everything in Hollywood is. One of the things where I feel like I'm really in two minds is fame can be a tricky thing, I would imagine. I think there's a lot of highs and I think there's a lot of lows. I don't believe that this girl should be getting death threats on any level. I think that's stupid. Also, whoever's typing out these death threats, go get a job. How about that? Go find a life.
Yeah.
And do something with it.
Yeah. Are you near a roof? I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so that part I can have sympathy for, and I just don't think anybody really... I just think that that's, like, pretty wild, especially for what she did. She's 21, she's young, she made a mistake. But then part of me is also, and I do believe these two mindsets can coexist, it's like, I don't know how you feel about this, but I just personally feel like there's a lot of huge pros to being famous and being fiscally successful. If Jordan Woods
can make... Buy your mom a house?
Exactly, dude. If Jordan Woods can make $200,000 off posting something on Instagram and like a couple of those, buy your mom a house, I can't do that, right? So that sucks for me that I have to work to make however much a year.
Right.
And you get to do that. Exactly. Yeah. But then if I make a mistake like that, the whole world doesn't know about it, and that's my payoff for that, right? Like, you can't reap the benefits of being famous, love the paparazzi, love your life, live in Kylie Jenner's $1 billion mansion, and then get butthurt when you get blasted by the world and it turns on you. Because guess what? That's the price of fame, and I don't get to... I fly coach.
And I think that,
So
and
that's
I think
the deal.
that she's taking full advantage because, and I'll go back to this point. This Red Table Talk was the best. I mean, better than any probably other celebrity has ever had the chance to come clean. You're with your freaking aunt, basically. you know, the minute those cameras stop rolling, there's no judgment that's going to happen.
There's no audience.
You're with your family.
Right.
So what annoys me is that Jordan does have all this
opportunity,
and she not once says sorry. She continues to point out that she should not have put herself in that situation, as if her fucking apparition was like pushing her through the house. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't like that she never.
She was kind of playing the victim, but then saying,
"I am sorry. I was a bad friend to you and your family." Blah blah blah. She's just like, "I put myself in that situation." It's like, cool. Again, with the dancing terms.
Yeah, again, dancing around the idea of just being like, I hugely made a mistake and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, the fact that she just made a mistake.
I just think it opens up bigger conversations about A, bullying and what we do online, B, the price of fame. And, you know, we all say we want fame, but this is the price of it. Like I said, I think there are highs and lows. And that's not to say, like, you know, I want it to be known, I think there's a lot of celebrities who actually do understand that. Like, I feel like Kim Kardashian's she's pretty open about being like, it's cool that I get shit on all day long because I know I signed up for this. Like, I appreciate celebrities who kind of, like, understand that. I just think, you know, like I said, you can't have it all. But it just is interesting, you know. I think this situation just brought out a lot of, like, fame, making mistakes, being young. I just think we gotta all kind of count our blessings sometimes that we're not famous, because we've all messed up, right? We've all had issues with our best friends or had issues with our boyfriends or whatever, and there is a weird solace in being able to keep your privacy that fame will never really allow you.
Yeah. I think everybody now just kind of wants to air out their laundry.
Yeah.
And that, you know, if this would have happened 10 years ago, I doubt somebody would have been like, you know, I really need to make a public statement.
Yeah.
Like, who would have cared?
I have this theory that it would have been amazing to be a celebrity in, like, the 50s.
Because later.
Even later, dude. You're right. Yeah, even like the 80s. I mean, there wasn't social media. There wasn't even the internet. You didn't have to, like, dude. If eyes and ears didn't see you, it didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, like, let's all be shady, but I mean, I would imagine your privacy was just so much more intact.
Absolutely.
As a celebrity. So I feel like this generation, we're kind of seeing that everybody's getting put on blast for everything.
Seriously.
And I think it really sheds a light on our society, and that's kind of why we wanted to talk about this issue.
Yeah.
Because, boy, the claws were out on the internet. Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah.
Other celebrities were chiming in. Jeffree Star was like, you guys are all full of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating how much people can profit or lose off of these types of situations.
Anyway, but yeah. Crazy stuff.
We just wanted to catch up a little bit, guys. We have a lot of really cool stuff in the locker for this season.
Put a new tea bag in the water, you know what I mean?
Ain't that the truth? We're spilling the tea, guys, and we're also sipping it at the same time. Maybe Stephanie spills it and I sip it, and then vice versa.
You never know.
But yeah, so we have a lot of cool things coming up. We have a lot of great episodes.
We're excited, and we really appreciate you guys joining us again. We're going to try to have a really killer season. We really want feedback, so please don't hold back.
Let us know. Nuts. Send us your DMs, and also, would you buy the Keurig Drinkworks? Yay or nay? All right, love you guys.
We love you.
Hang up your cups.
Have a beautiful week.
Remember, they can't go in the dishwasher. Rinse them out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.